What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're doing well today. Got a review for you. Let's get into it. Okay, today we're going to be taking a look at a Kizer design by one of my favorite lesser known designers, and that's going to be the damned design Invictus. This one here is very interesting because I believe QSP was the OE for the frame lock and liner lock versions of this knife, and Damn Designed, from what I understand, got a little blowback for some customer service failings and decided to license out to Kizer. And I think that probably makes sense when you start to get a little overwhelmed, as you grow, to start roping in someone to make your designs for you. I don't think the profit is as high, but with the prices that Damn Design was offering for their direct purchase QSP variants, I don't know how much profit was really there. Anyway, let's get into this one. We're going to start it off with some size comparisons, profile, weight, and then we'll jump into my thoughts and impressions. This one here is, a $90 knife, going to be very comparable to some of these budget ones that I'm going to bring out here. This is the Moyarl. It is a medium-sized EDC. It's very comparable to your Bug Out. If you're wondering another knife, if you haven't experienced this one, that it would be comparable to, it'd definitely be bigger than the Rat 2. Here's the Civivi Amorite. I'm really loving the Amorite, guys. If you want a button lock, you got to check this one out. This one is sweet. This is going to be more comparable to like your Rat 1, PM2 size knives. So it's definitely going to be a little bit more on the bigger size. I would really put the Invictus more in that medium size, even though it does have more blade length. When you look at that handle ratios, very comparable to the medium, but you can see your Moyarl has a finger choil on it, so it gives you a little bit more space. We're going to hang on to the Moyarl, and we're going to use that one for our profile comparisons here in just a minute. Let's bring out two of my other favorite size comparisons. We're going to bring out the Para 3 Lightweight, and we're going to bring out the Spyderco Shaman, which is very comparable to the PM2 guys. And again, Rat 2, Rat 1 right there for you. More medium size. It's going to be bigger than your Para 3 Lightweight, but we're going to use the Lightweight for this profile comparison, and it is really close to the Shaman. I kind of glanced over that a little quickly, but if you look at the Shaman pivot to pivot and you look blade to blade, blade is very similar, not just in shape but in length, but you got a little bit more on the handle there with that Shaman. You know what, we'll do the medium and not the lightweight. So we'll do the Moyarl and we'll do the Spyderco Shaman. So let's do profile. You can see how it's going to feel in hand, how it's going to carry in pocket. Now, what I will encourage you to do is try to look around the pivot area on the Invictus versus the edges. It has a very long chamfer on here. So you're going to see that the thickness is actually very similar to Moyarl. And then I would imagine that the Shaman, yep, very similar. So about the same thickness as both of these. How does it carry in the pocket closed up? It is going to be same length as the Shaman, maybe just a hair longer, That pocket clip makes it hard to tell, and we'll get to that in just a second, but it hangs off the back just a little bit. So I would say it's more comparable to the Shaman and not quite as slender in profile as the Moyarl. Let's check the weight and let's jump into this, guys. Let's see what we got here on the scale. Wakey, wakey, fishy, sleepy. All right, let's see here. If you know, you know. 4 ounces. It's full size knife, 4 ounces. Anywhere from 3.5 to 4 ounces on these budget knives to me are acceptable. Anything like kind of under that is really, really good. And if it's over that, if it's like a titanium or something like that, I don't really mind too much. Let's kick it off talking. Actually, you know what? I'm going to switch it up. Let's take it down to the table and do the cut test, and then I'll cover everything after that. Okay, guys, we're in the garage. Damn Design, Invictus. I actually had a premium Invictus And I believe Kizer was the OE then. It might have been QSP. Actually, I think it was QSP. Right out the gate, gripping onto the knife before I even start cutting, I am feeling that pocket clip. Let's see. We got a nice edge on the 154 CM. Good cutting geometry. Let's just test it across the single ply Amazon special. Yeah, good bite. Goes straight through the cardboard. I'm going to skip past the tape, guys. And we'll go all the way down since this is a shorter length. Good bite here. We got 2 pieces of cardboard here where it was on the bend. So we're getting double the cut right there. Good bite, especially considering this has been sitting out in the garage for a little while. I'm finally getting down to the last bit of stock that I have. So 154 CM from Kizer always seems to be treated really well. Let's just check really quick. Yeah, still good bite. Feels still like it has a really nice edge. The paper kind of bent there. That's my fault. Yeah, good bite. Doesn't feel like it's dragging at all. I'm going to strop this up and clean it up so that when it goes to the next reviewer, it has a really fresh edge. But let's go ahead and kick it back up to the table and we'll talk about the geometry on the Invictus. All right, so coming back, the reason I wanted to do that first is because I do those cutting tests not just to show factory edge and geometry, but also ergos, which is really important. Now, on the Invictus, from what I recall, I believe that was a frame lock liner lock. I don't remember if it had a flipper tab. And let me just check. I'm going to check really quick. Okay, so yeah, it was a titanium liner lock, inset liner lock. I think it was all titanium on the outside and then the steel insert for the liner lock on this side. But it was still a flipper tab. And it looked like it pretty much had the same thing. So here's my issue. I really like the micarta, very grippy. It is a nice thin knife, and I would say if you have medium hands, this is going to be really comfortable. For me, I can get 3.5 fingers onto the flat part of the scale, but I fall off the back. I don't really like the angle of this one. I can't remember which damn design I had. I think it was not a flipper tab. I think it was like a thumb stud or opening hole. I can't remember this Invictus with the titanium, and I apologize. I wish I really could, but I really don't like the ergos on this one. It feels like it falls away in the hand, like it's falling away. And even though I'm trying to angle my grip, you can see my fingers are having to wrap around more to kind of grip onto here. So, I feel like it tapers down, which is, it can work or it can't work. It all depends on how much of an angle you have going here. So for me, it's a no-go ergonomically. I really am disappointed with how it feels in the hand. Edge geometry and factory edge are really good. Kizer always seems to do a really good job with their 154 CM and their factory edges and their geometry. It moved through the material, very good, whether it was the paper or the cardboard, and I really like that. They also do a very beautiful static wash, stone wash here. I really like the way that comes out looking. I like static washes. I think I'm one of the rare birds that like a static wash. I think it's very pretty. The jimping on the back is not super aggressive, but it's grippy. So that I really like as well. A complaint I have about the design is that I don't really like that the spring part sticks up. I would have liked this to have been like a change to make it a little bit more unique than just doing it as a button lock. The reason I say that, you could do a clutch lock. I don't know if that would have been any better, because then you would have had them, you know what I'm saying? The stud sticking out on both sides would have been symmetrical. It would have looked the same either way. This just looks odd. It almost looks like, have you ever seen, like, I don't know how this happens on a car door, but where the dent pushes it out instead of sticking in? Have you ever seen that on a car? That's kind of what it looks like something hit it from the inside and pushed it out. So it just looks a little odd. It's not awful, guys. I don't want to make it sound terrible, but I think because I don't like the ergos on this one, I'm really turned off by it. I don't like that you can see the button here, or I'm sorry, the opposite side of the button here where the spring's nested, and I don't like that you can see the little hole there for the lockup when it's closed. Those to me just make it feel like it was all an afterthought. Um, they were like, let's just take the Invictus, make it a button lock, make it work. We're not going to change nothing else. I think contouring the scales, making it slightly contoured, getting rid of the extreme chamfering around the edges on this particular model would have been a lot better. I do really appreciate that they took the extra micarta to cut and use this filler tab for the reversible deep carry pocket clip, which rides super deep. I mean, it is super, super deep. You guys, you guys could move that in a little bit, maybe up and in, so that it doesn't go into the blade path if you're worried about it going past the liners. Um, but that is super deep. I mean, feel about it how you feel about it, I guess. To me, I mean, there's nothing going to be sticking out of the pocket, but moving it down a little bit, there's not a lot that's going to be left out either way. But this way, it's all the way in there, man. It's like hiding in the pocket. The action's good. Kizer's button locks have really come a long ways for me. Their first few button locks on the original and the beg lighter and such didn't really impress me. And then I handled some later versions and it felt like they worked some of it out, or maybe the earlier versions I just got bad examples of. But I ordered like 3 different versions of the original, and all of those to me just felt unrefined. This feels really refined. There's a hint of lock stick still, which is kind of okay by me that there's a little hint, because I feel like to me that means it's just really tight tolerances and locked up. That was my fault. I hit this part of the knife when I was going to swipe, and that's why that happened. This feels like, yeah, you could push button or you could light switch. It's not super strong, but I don't know if that's because it's tight in the pivot, needs to be broken in. I don't know. I almost feel like if they would have they would have dumbed. If they would have done thumb studs, just make them cut it in a little bit more here because you got a nice tall body, and put the thumb studs like right here, and you hit them here. I almost think that would have worked better, and then just made it a crossbar lock, because I love crossbar locks with thumb studs. I always feel like the action's really good, and I really do prefer that. All in all, I would say for 80 bucks, you know, if you love the design and you're big into the button locks, you like that fidget factor, this one's fine. This one's going to be almost like a poor man's shaman minus the excellent ergos. I know it's going to come off like I'm bashing this knife. I'm not bashing this knife. I think a crossbar lock with thumb studs and a flipper delete, if you want to do a V2, and contour the scales. And that's it. Just contour the scales. Don't make them flat. Crossbar lock. No, I mean, that even looks cleaner to me. No flipper tab, and just pull the notch in a little bit. And those thumb studs that you use on the drop bear, the smaller thumb studs, they can work here. I think they can work here really well. And I think you would find, because it's a crossbar lock with thumb studs, it would go off like gangbangers. To me, I'm going to recommend the Conspirator. I'm going to recommend the Amorite, really because I love the Amorite, but the Conspirator I think gives you 14C if you prefer that over the Nitro V. Nitro V is what comes on your standard Amorite, and that's about 72 bucks as well. Oh man. Drop Bear, Escort. Trying to think what else. I think the Sparrow comes in a budget-friendly variant. The Task, I know that's another crossbar lock. I'm trying to think of a recent button lock from Kizer that I liked. I don't think I've handled anything new in a little bit. Help me out, guys. If you can think of some alternatives that you really, really like from Kizer, that's a button lock, throw that down in the comments. I would look at the Raccoon from Vosti. That one's going to come in at just over 60, 14C28N, micarta and or G10. It's going to be a little bit smaller, so that might appeal to you if you don't like the thickness. You're going to find, a very similar handle height to what you see here on the Moyarl. I'm going to recommend the Moyarl. They now make it with micarta and a crossbar lock, or you can still get it in the liner lock, depending, on your take. I actually want to pick up a Moyarl with the crossbar lock. I want to see if they did a good job, because I am of the opinion that crossbar locks work with thumb studs and spring locks work with thumb studs, but opening holes are very hit or miss for me. Anyway, that is going to be my overview of the Invictus. It's a pass for me personally, just too small, ergonomically not really good, and just I feel like everything's kind of an afterthought on this license design. Let me know what you think about this one, though. Did I hit the nail on the head? Do you disagree? Do you have one? And tell me why you like it, what you like about it, and what you've been enjoying about it. Because those comments are important for people that go down to make comments. I know a lot of people do read those, so your feedback is very valued. Shout out to everyone out there for watching the full video, liking, using the links, commenting, and being subscribed. All of those help the channel, and I'm grateful for your support. Special thanks to my members. Thank you for your continued membership. That really helps the channel, allows the content to flow, and allows me to do member-only giveaways. So at the time I'm doing this one, there's one out there, but I don't know if it'll post before or after, so don't worry, there'll be more coming. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you have a fantastic week, guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.